there, tech enthusiasts! Today, we're diving into the world of QPT, or quantum processing technology. This groundbreaking technology is set to revolutionize the way we process data, compute, and communicate. QPT is a game changer in the field of quantum computing, harnessing the power of quantum mechanics to perform calculations and computations at unprecedented speeds. This technology is set to transform industries such as finance, healthcare, and logistics, and could even lead to breakthroughs in areas like artificial intelligence and machine learning. But QPT is not just about speed. It's also about precision, allowing for more accurate and reliable computations. This could have a profound impact on fields like weather forecasting, climate modeling, and even drug discovery. So, are you excited about the potential of QPT? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tech updates. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tech savvy. The quantum physics theory has redefined space. Rodney Kovatsky has recreated physics into a zero continuum. The idea that acceleration in a spacecraft in space is now the propulsion value of that velocity. When a spacecraft creates specific speed in space, afterward space acts as the carrier force. Not more need to accelerate. Since matter and propulsion are limited to the amount of velocity it acquires, if a ship can travel faster than light, it will. Space acts as a surfboard in the three-dimensional grid. If a ship has the capacity to accelerate with warp drives or engines that are calibrated to reach light speed, and the spacecraft retains 3 such engines, it will travel 3 times light speed. Unlike relativity, quantum physics illustrates and expands space, where space is what creates the motion throughout the universe itself. As the Hubble anomaly expands, it pushes the galaxies into their orbital track. As the anomaly expands at a constant impulse rate every second, it creates a repulsive space environment. It is this pushing that causes space to accelerate in the process. Where relative limit for all matter that exists, we have to look at space itself by itself. The action of space expanding in a continuum. Within the quantum physics study, the accelerating force of space is advanced to a speed that measures faster than light. Quantum physics explains how energy and momentum, including motion, is not constricted to Einstein's speed limit but is engaged at velocity twice light speed. It is for this same reason that the difference between the two theories, acceleration and velocity, are different. It takes more energy to create a repulsive push force than it does for matter measured in relativity, measured at a universal speed limit as Einstein has imposed it. With this in mind, we can illustrate in theory how space acts as a repulsive push surfing type environment. Whereby in the first 20th century, Einstein shows how space can bend. Rodney Kovatsky shows how space enforced by acceleration acts like a surfboard in a sea, ocean, and waves push against the existing shores. Rodney Kovatsky's expanse vacuum gravitation theory presents a novel perspective on gravity and faster-than-light FTL travel, proposing that the fabric of space itself possesses repulsive properties that can be harnessed for propulsion. Core theory: space as a repulsive medium. Kovatsky suggests that, contrary to traditional views of gravity as an attractive force, the vacuum of space exerts a repulsive force. This repulsion is thought to drive the expansion of the universe and can be utilized to propel spacecraft beyond the speed of light. Reverse vacuum space field drive. Building on this concept, Kovatsky introduces the idea of a propulsion system that leverages the repulsive nature of space. This reverse vacuum space field drive would allow a spacecraft to achieve velocities exceeding that of light by interacting with the expansive force of the universe itself. Differentiation from traditional gravity. The theory distinguishes between planetary gravity, denoted as little g, and cosmic gravity, big G. While little g pertains to the gravitational pull experienced on planetary bodies, big G refers to the expansive, repulsive force of the universe. Kovatsky posits that this big G force can be harnessed for FTL travel. Space acts just the opposite of matter resistance. Illustration that shows how after the Big Bang event, as matter cooled in, the activity resistance caused matter to spin at great velocity. This spin caused the dark space element to entangle, creating a vicious spin. In the three-dimensional space, rather than forming a black hole, the main element of cold in the formation of a bubble erected and has been expanding ever since. Conceptual stages of the illustration. 1. Post-Big Bang chaos, a vibrant central explosion representing the Big Bang. Surrounding this, cooling matter begins to condense into fragments and filaments. The space between these fragments, the dark space element resists, visualized as a dark, semi-fluid web or ether pushing back against matter's activity. 2. Resistance-induced spin. Matter begins to spin rapidly due to the resistance of space. Show swirling vortexes of galaxies or protomatter clumps, each spinning in multiple directions. Arrows and motion trails emphasize angular momentum. 3. Entanglement of dark space. The spinning matter entangles the dark space element, perhaps depicted as thread-like dark tendrils wrapping around spinning objects. Visually, this could resemble the beginnings of gravitational fields, but with a chaotic, reactive quality. 4. Emergence of the bubble. Instead of a black hole collapse, a cold core bubble emerges, maybe from a convergence of entangled space elements. This bubble becomes the expanding universe. The bubble is cold, glowing faintly blue-white, surrounded by darker, turbulent regions. 3D space around it is warping outward, indicating expansion. The cosmic swell midfield space gravity waves. These surface gravity waves have their origin as wind waves, but are the consequence of dispersion of wind waves from distant propagate along the interface between water and air under the predominating influence of gravity, and thus are often referred to as surface gravity. After the Big Bang, things started to cool down. Hot molded liquids in the universe bang began cooling and changing into a solid. With these planets and galaxies were formed. Little bangs, as I call them, were the second stage on the universe. During this transformation, the liquid universe spun, resisting the cold, empty space it resided in. As a singularity, a gigantic vertex was formed. This gravitonic state and time of the universe, because space is infinite in size mass, created a centralized spin that would end because space is so large in its mass matter has no place to surrender. Such it began tearing a hole in the properties of what we define to be empty space. Space must come from some sort of vacuum element which is unknown. In any event, the universe galactic matter formed waves of great precision. These waves collapsed because of its accelerating speed in the vacuum. The collapse formed a swell in the space vacuum resistance and started a balloon-type continuance of expansion. Lumps of the dark matter vacuum collapsed and were sold in small parts that collected and bond together into what we refer today as the Hubble sphere. From cosmology, fluid dynamics, and conceptual physics, quantum physics, or C-theory frameworks, the Swell midfield space gravity waves. These are surface gravity waves that originated as wind waves ripples across the early cosmic medium. Over time, through dispersion and interaction with the vast vacuum, they evolved into structured patterns of movement, propagating along the interface of emerging matter and the expansive vacuum of space. Governed by gravity, they were sculpted by the tension between mass and emptiness surface gravity in a universal context. After the Big Bang, the universe began to cool. What began as molten, high-energy fluid started to solidify. From this phase transition emerged planets, galaxies, and the large-scale structure of the cosmos. I call these formations little bangs, the secondary events that emerged after the primordial blast, each a localized eruption of order from chaos. During this transformation, the universe spun a vast rotating fluid resisting the cold vacuum in which it resided. In its singular state, a gargantuan vortex formed. This gravitoric era, the time where mass, space, and gravity coalesced in a spinning singularity, was a consequence of infinite space mass, a continuum so vast that matter had no boundaries to rest against or encircle. It was this absence of resistance that caused a rupture tear in the properties of what we now define as empty space.